Hello, Year 5 and 6, welcome back to another reading tutorial. It is Wednesday the 24th of June today, and we are looking at a different set of reading comprehension questions today. Yesterday we looked at literal retrieval questions and inference questions. They're probably the ones you're most familiar with. They're the ones we've done the most work on. Today we're going to be looking at a couple of different ones. We're going to be looking at some vocabulary style questions, asking you to think about what words represent certain things or what certain words mean. We're going to be looking at some sequencing questions, so where you have to put things in order of sequence, and we're also going to be looking at some questions where you're given character names and need to match character names up to certain events in the story, or character names up with certain feelings that they might be feeling that best sums up that character. So before we move on to the questions, exactly the same routine as you've got so good at now. You get the pages, you pause the video until you've read them, then you start the video up again to get a go at the questions. If you've got the PDFs, you pause the video, read the PDFs, and then you'll have to come back to the video to get the questions. So if you pause here, start it up again when you've read those 2 pages. Okay, and your first question then is a vocabulary question. Which word from this highlighted section shows that Cameron was feeling uncomfortable? So you're looking for a single word because it is not said, it's not written as a plural. It didn't say words plural, just word singular. Which word from that highlighted section shows that Cameron was feeling uncomfortable? So your answer will read the word from the highlighted section showing that Cameron feels uncomfortable is, and then mum, for example. That's wrong, don't write mum, but that's my example. Okay, the second question then. What does the word vaguely, right down at the bottom there, what does the word vaguely tell you about mum's statement? So mum says, I read it in a magazine somewhere. That's her statement. What does the word vaguely tell you about mum's statement? Okay, when you've got those 2 questions done, you can start the video up again and we'll move on to the next page. Okay, so this time I've put the question up from the beginning. So as you're reading this one, I want you to match the characters of Mum, Dr. Bryce, the B of Bryce should have a capital letter there, that's my mistake, and Cameron with one of those 3 adjectives below. And I'd like you to explain why you've done that, please. So you might put, and I'm not trying to sway you, these could be wrong, I'm just going to put them in the order that it's come up. So it could be Mum is impatient, Dr. Bryce is angry, Cameron is scared. You could decide to do them in that order. I'd then like you to say why you did it. So you'd put Mum impatient because, and then why from the story you think she's impatient. Dr. Bryce angry because, taken straight from the story. But that just happened to be in the order I've put them in. That doesn't mean that's the right order. I'll stop talking now to let you read the 2 pages, and then you can pair those up for me. And when you've done that, start the video again, and we will move on to the next 2 pages. Okay, next 2 pages then. Pause the video, read over them, start the video up again when you are ready to do the questions. Okay. So in your own words then, I'd like you to explain how Cameron is feeling in that section and why he is feeling that way. So how's Cameron feeling in that small section of the text, and why is he feeling that way? When you've done that, you can start the video up again and we'll move on to the next page. So pause the video, answer that question, then start it up again for the next page. Okay, same routine. Pause the video, read the 2 pages, then start the video up again to look at the question. Okay, and your question for these two questions. Why does Cameron's mum nudge him? And why is Cameron getting annoyed? So they're quite linked, those 2 questions. And when you've answered those 2, start the video up again for the last, I think the last question, if I remember rightly from when I planned all this. That's the section to look at for those 2 questions, by the way, so you can have a think about that section in relation to your answers. And then finally, so all I'd like you to do now is I'd just like you to put these in order for me. There's 4 statements there that are taken from this chapter, and all I'd like you to do is put them in chronological order, with the top one being what happened earliest in the chapter, going down to the thing that happened sort of most recently towards the end of the chapter. You can just number them if you'd like, but putting them in that order. And then that is you done for today's reading tutorial. I'll be back with you tomorrow for Thursday's reading tutorial, but for now, goodbye.